Góðan daginn, or hi. This is a presentation in English, just so you're aware. Welcome to Game Creator 2014. On behalf of Icelandic game industry. It's been 3 years since we held this last time, and the outcome of that was, if I remember correctly, 11 or 13 teams. I can't remember which. And we had brilliant projects coming out of that. And it's really fun to see that we have 17 teams already signed up. So already we are bigger before the competition starts, and we could have even more teams sign up soon. Game Creator is about creating a game, a prototype of a game, and just getting more people into the industry that have the ambition and the willingness to, work in the industry, or have just some crazy idea that they want to create. This is the menu for that. And today we have Luminox to talk about how they went from being a school project and to the day today that they are almost releasing their game. Just by any minute now, come on. And they won the Game Creator 2011. So they're going to talk to you about how they went about do it and their process up to this point. We will have a Q&A session after that where you can ask questions both to them regarding their project and how they went about it, and any questions about Game Creator in general. So without further ado, let's have Luminox come up and talk.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Burkni, and I'm one of the founders of Luminox. With me is Ingþór here, and then Tyrfingur, and we three were together in a class called, what was it, computer game creation, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, in the fall of 2011, and there we worked on a prototype of a game, which we submitted into Game Creator and won, like you were told. So this is our logo. And here's the game that we're working on now. This is Aru's Awakening, and this is this is where we are today. And this is like a poster we made of the game, and that's Aru there in the middle, and he's the main character that you play. This is us three when we won Game Creator 2011. We were really happy. And we got such good feedback that we decided that we must take this further. So we started our call to adventure. Originally, this is a video of the original version of the game. It was called Teleporter. It was done in 8 hours, and the mission was to release it on GamesNet for free and make money off that. The original idea came from Tyrfingur, the teleportation, and but when we started the class, then we decided to do a more sophisticated version of the game. So hence came Relocator, and this is the game that we submitted into Game Creator. We also submitted this for as the final in the class and got the highest grade, which was really good. So this is the current state of the game.
The land was beaten, broken, and barren after eons of endless battles between the four brothers, dawn, day, dusk, and night.
Actually, that was the alpha demo. But when we started in the Luminox, it was in the spring of 2012. We started remodeling the idea and came up with Hours Awakening. In the fall of 2012, we released this alpha demo, which you saw just here. And at the same time, when we because we were only 3 programmers, we got a graphic artist who came up with the whole idea of how the game should look, and a lot of improvements were done, as you could see between the 2 videos. Totally 2 different games, but with the same core game mechanic. So, Ingþór, you wanna step in?
Sure stuff. Thank you, Burkni. So yeah, this is our story in short. So we just went and made a little prototype, won some competitions, and then we met some people and took the insanity phase and created a company. And then we've been sitting on our ass, programming and doing stuff for 2 years. But we also done some other fun stuff though, like going on PAX Prime and meeting new people and having a good time. So yeah, this is the current state of our game. This is Aru in the dawn world. This is Aru in the day world, in the dusk world, and the night world. So the game is split in 4 different realms. So as usual, we're almost done with the game, so we can kind of do a retrospective already. And what we felt that we did right was that if there was something that was going to stop us, we didn't let it stop us. It maybe put us a little bit down, but we only let it put us down for 2 hours, and then we stood up and continued. We never gave up. That's why we're still here. And we decided to make a video game, not a game engine. If we were making a game engine, we would maybe still be making the game engine. But some people like to make their own engines. I'm not going to tell you to stop if that's what you want to do. But if you plan on just creating a video game, then you should definitely go for a game engine. Or at least that's what we found out. And we also prototype it early, which is maybe thanks to Game Creator and the class we took in Reykjavík University. So we didn't start out with a big plan and process with a big game. We just had an idea for a gameplay mechanic, and we put up a client and tried out the mechanic, and it was really fun. And we tried it out in different scenarios, and then we could decide, okay, this is fun. We want to spend our time and money on this project. So I'd recommend that you do the same. Prototype early, see if it works. If it doesn't work, try something different. Oh yeah, and the most important skill of the indie game developer is self-learning, because when we started out, we really didn't know how to make games. We had no idea. But in 2014, we just Googled it and learned it. I mean, you only need a computer, a mouse, and a keyboard, and then you can pretty much learn anything, well, not anything, but most computer game related in the world. And also tools usage. We've been using many, many tools and the correct tools to assist our game development, and we're going to go into that better later on in this presentation. And then we did something wrong. It hasn't only been dancing on flowers and butterflies. So what we could have done better was defining the project scope earlier. I'm just going to admit it. We were going to be a lot faster making this project. But as we're a new company, we haven't worked together before, put out a very clear project scope that's easy to finish. And the project planning methods, we were using Scrum and have been using Scrum, but I'm not saying Scrum is the best thing for game development. This is my desktop. You can use Scrum and Kanban or some other methodologies, but I'd really recommend using something to keep track of your project. It really increases productivity, and sometimes if you're not doing it right, someone gets lost just doing something, and then maybe we didn't have to do it. So keep your project planning really good. And on the production pipeline and the methods there, for the prototype, we don't want to make a sophisticated pipeline, but when you're out there to do your big game and have decided that you really want to do this, then take some time off and create tools and pipelines and things that make it easier for you to put your game together. Like, for example, a tool that would let you place, vectors around if it was a 2D platformer. A tool that will just let you place vectors around and create geometry. That would, for example, be a productivity tool. And for example, in the Unity 3D game engine, which we use, there are many tools on the asset store there that you actually don't have to make yourselves. And they're really useful. But if there's something really specific to your game and you see a 1.5 year project incoming, I'd really recommend to make some productivity tools. And yeah, we were also, I'm not saying we were in our own corner, but we could have spent more time meeting up with people, looking on forums, and seeing what other people were doing, so we don't have to invent the wheel again. We did that in some areas of our project, and we could have spent less time doing things that were done before. But there weren't too many, but there were some. Now, the well of wisdom. So basically, after making this game for like 2 years or so, I have come to the conclusion that perseverance is the most important character attribute. Just going to work every day, staying there, doing your best every day, that's probably the most important thing. And the love for the project. If you lose the love for the project, I don't know, there have been days where you have not had really the love, something happened and such, then you just don't make good stuff. Everyone has to be loving the project. And if you see someone falling down in your team, try and put him back up, because it really matters, the mental state. And I've also found that loving what you do is more important than doing what you love. So basically, I could be, driving a Formula 1 car all day, and it's really fun, but because I've been doing it my whole life, you forget the fun in it, but if you were to do something else, you would realize how fun it is. It's happening to all indie game developers around the world. They really love this, but then they forget how lovely it is. And it's something with our brain. We get used to the stimulation. So one has to really be careful about his, mental state, and remind yourself that you're doing something that nobody else is doing, and this is what you want to do. And always when I do it myself, I'm just, hey, okay, I'm really happy. Now on tools. We make games with tools. At least I don't make it in assembly. But some guy, I don't know if you know the game Roller Coaster Tycoon. That one was actually made in assembly, which is super cool. Now, you're probably going to use a game engine unless you're going to make one yourself. If you do, then I wish you good luck. I would not do it myself, but if you can, then you're super cool. These are some popular ones. We use the Unity game engine. If we were going to go for something more sophisticated in first-person shooting, for example, then we would probably go for the Unreal Engine. Panda 3D, it's actually a very cool scripted engine. It has some very cool things to it. It's maintained by Disney. They made Toontown Online with it, and I've actually made a few projects in it, and it's, what can you say? It's not as sophisticated as the other ones, but it's, I don't know, no. You should not use it, but it's very educational. So if you want to learn, you can use Panda 3D. The Source engine, which Steam made for Counter-Strike and Half-Life and those games, is really strong. So if you're going to make a mod or something like that, you could actually look for that one. There have been some great mods made in the Source engine. Well, actually, Counter-Strike was not originally made in the Source engine, but you get the idea. People can do great things there. And then we have Game Maker, which is less programming intense than the other game engines. I've not tried it out myself, but we saw some people at PAX using it, and they had some nice games out there. So if you want to abstract a lot of the programming and you got a more visual-heavy team and such, you could try Game Maker out. And then we have some standard art tools there. We use Photoshop ourselves the most, and we also use TV Paint. But then there are some free alternatives, and if you want to make pixel art, you can use Synfig or something else. And then there are some sound editing tools. I really recommend this one, BFXR. I guess a lot of you are going to make prototypes. So basically BFXR is kind of a synthesizing tool that lets you just drag some parameters around, and you get some Nintendo jumping sound, Nintendo explosion sound, and you can just press the random button, and you get some sound, and you go, okay, this fits my game. So it's good for sound replacements, or if you want to go for low-fidelity sounds with your pixel art game, for example. And then we got communications, which is just pretty standard. I think you all know those things, except maybe for source control. If you got 2 or 3 more programmers and you haven't heard about source control, you should probably look it up. It makes it easier to collaborate. And we went to PAX Prime, which is a big, I think it's the most, how do you say, fjölmennast?
It's the biggest?
Yeah, it's the biggest game conference in the world in number of people.
With independent
developers. Yeah, with independent developers. And actually, there come the most people to this event. There are more than at E3 because they don't let the public in. But this event is like crowded with cosplayers and people that want to play your game, not only media. And there we have our area, people playing Hours Awakening. It was super fun to see people enjoy our game. That's probably the most lovely experience of a developer, when you see someone playing your stuff and they're having a good time. I don't know, it's kind of an indescribable feeling. I guess it's somewhat like having your baby walking around. No. Yeah, this is a super VIP guy from Nintendo. He, when he had played our game, he said, "I'm going to kick this game on the Nintendo." And we're a Nintendo developer now. Actually, yeah, we're getting a Nintendo probably very soon. And on methodologies, you can do just code and fix, but there are some methods that are more productive than others and also more agile. So basically, if you want to change something and you're using agile methods, it's probably easier for you to switch. An example of agile methods would be Scrum. Some of you have probably heard about it. But we actually found out that Scrum didn't work out that well for our artists. So we had them use the methodology called Kanban. So basically then they, I don't know, there was something about it that they liked more, probably that it was more like, you have to do this, but they didn't really know how long it would take. So some would say it was a way to be able to slack, but it really fitted them a lot better. And iteration. The first iteration of your product is probably not going to be as good as the 5th one or the 6th one. But the 7th one might be worse than the 6th one. That happens the whole time. But yeah, we have gone through a few iterations. We could have released, when we made Teleporter, the first one that took 8 hours. We could have released when we made the prototype for the IGI game creator that we won earlier on. But then we iterated again into Hours Awakening, like a big iteration. And we have actually iterated on Aru twice now. So iteration really pushes your product to the limits. And here's another one. there's a concept called vertical and horizontal slices. We only heard about it like 5 months ago, but we actually did it without knowing that it existed. It basically means a horizontal slice is your game without the visuals or the expensive assets. You have the gameplay there, a prototype, which actually goes through most of the content, basically maybe from start to finish, and you have an idea what your game looks like in wireframe. And then you can make a vertical slice, which, for example, if it was a platformer, you would make the first 2 levels with all the looks. When you have done that, you really know what your game is like, and it's really easy to produce it because you know what you're making, and you spend less time making stuff that would otherwise be being thrown out. And it's also good if you want to pitch a game for investors. When you got a horizontal slice and a vertical slice, the investor knows what the game's like. He knows what he's buying in for. And if you would offer him marketing data too, he would maybe invest in you. I don't know. It's probably his decision. And on doing things differently. We did a few things differently, but we kept some classic things also in. We had a really unique art style. Our artist, he thought that everyone was making the same toony things. Well, not everyone, but you see those games like World of Warcraft and League of Legends and those popular games. They have those super saturated colors that are very pleasing to the eye. But he said, okay, I want to do something different. But we've done a few things different than that we maybe should not have done different. Because different is not better. Different is only better if it is better. So don't do different if it's not better. Well, you can do, but at least I would not recommend it for our team. We try to not be different if it's not better. And then there's player-focused design. That's probably more on game design, but it also fits with the art department. So when you're making your assets, you have to think the player is going to be within this world, and what you're making, he has to, correlate it to things around him. So basically, you're making a game for the player. And also within the design, I don't know, one sometimes gets hubris, and you're like, I'm going to make this super hard puzzle. Okay, it's cool to make it hard, but if the player doesn't enjoy it, that's not good. So at first, we made a super hard game, and then we iterated on it to make it more enjoyable. It's still hard, but enjoyable and hard is cool, not only hard. No one enjoys that, at least, probably very few people. And on game development, so many of you have maybe started already, but if you haven't started already, then we really recommend spending some time on paper, knowing what you want to do. It's really easy. When we were starting our game, we had a drawing board like this in Reykjavík University, and just were drawing for like 8 hours until we got a good idea about what we were going to do. And then instead of making a game production plan or game design document, we just prototype it. We had the general idea, we made the core mechanics, and had this playable prototype. And I talked about it already. Then we iterated on the prototype until we felt like we had a solid foundation for the core gameplay. And not only after these three phases, one should go and make maybe a production plan, a game design document, and take time to make tools and such, and really think about how are we going to produce this from A to B. But when you go to that point, quick and dirty is not cool anymore, unless you're making a quick and dirty game. I don't know. So basically, this is how we make every level in Hours Awakening, actually our final product. We have this wireframe, and we can change everything there, all our structures. And we program the game first like this. We actually have a test client and a build client. The test client only has levels like these, and it's super easy to move it around, and it's very agile. You can change things if you want. So you basically put the game to the player, and it's super easy to change everything in the layout. This stage over there was the temporary stage for the artists. They actually skipped this stage now, but they probably used it for like 8 levels or so, and they just went simply for the final loop now. So they made like an intermediate sketch to see how their level would look like before they would make expensive assets, but they got the general idea how things look now. So just go right to this face. Yeah, and on team spirit, it matters a lot. We were actually quite lucky that we kind of like each other in the team, and we have had a great team spirit most of the time. But it's probably, I don't know, of all those points over there, staying weird is probably the most important, I think. It's basically, I don't know, you do weird stuff when you're with people all this time, and if you stop being weird, then you're probably gone depressed, and yeah. So staying weird, but also when you're communicating, it's really important not to, you can criticize positively, but if you're, I don't know, being demeaning and putting the other person down, the other person's productivity goes down and his love for the project goes down, and that's something we don't want because the game will be worse. So basically, we want to try and support each other. There are times when someone has something going on in their life. We've been here together for 2 years. One of our guys, had a growing baby, so he had to go sometimes off, but we had to understand that. One was not allowed to get pissed about that, and just things happen in people's lives, and we have to respect that. And yeah, small teams are cool. Civilization is made in small teams, and I don't know, it's something about the small teams that's so agile. If you want to change something or scrap something, everyone within the team knows about most of the components, but I'm guessing most of you are going to be in somewhat small teams. A small team is a team under 7 or so. But just remember the strength of your small team. Those big teams, they move around very slowly. Someone takes a decision, and the decision isn't with everyone in the company working on it until after about 3 days or something. And now, to break things up, this is the Night Realm, a video trailer that we released on the internet.
No QuickTime.
No, QuickTime is not available, so we're not going to be able to see that. Yeah, and about building the team. There are so many different people that can help you out in your project. To start with, we were only programmers. So we had only programming capabilities, which was fine. Okay, Burkni is also an experienced entrepreneur, which really helped us out. It was really valuable to meet him. It was kind of lucky. Me and Tyrfingur, we were in this course in Reykjavík University. We were just going to be 2, but Jóhannes said, you have to be 3. So we met Burkni, which was really cool. It's a coincidence. It's really lovely when those things in life happen. And having his entrepreneurial experience probably changed the game for us. So, but there are other people, not only entrepreneurs and programmers, that are important. Visual guys, sound guys. We have few visual guys and one sound guy. But business administration gets more important later on. Marketing gets more important later on. Although you should probably, if you're actually going to make a product that you want to either make money on or release free for some other reason, if you want people, everyone wants people to play the game. I make the game so that people can play the game. So if no one knows about your game, that's not fun. So marketing from the start makes marketing easier because Buzz is built over time. So I'm not saying you should be marketing during your prototyping phase, but when you got something to show and think that you got something to show, afterwards that, you should probably start doing some marketing. Nothing too sophisticated, maybe just creating a blog and letting your friends know and just putting it out there. And then we also have a writer, which is one of our artists. He's like super artistic, so he can also write. Can't every artist write? No. And then investors are also our friends because we want to have capacity. I don't know. We have actually done a lot of free work. Most of our work has been free, and it's been like, I don't know. It's hard, but not so hard because it's so fun. But sometimes it gets hard when you actually need the money. So having a good investor in your team can make life easier for you. And playtesters, they're all around the world. People love coming to our office and see, our stuff and testing out our game. But valuable test feedback can be super important for a game. For example, we realized that our Dawn 4, the last level in the game, was too hard when one of our testers died 437 times in it. So we tuned it down. And about monetization, some games are made to be just free because you want to make it free. I don't know, open source exists, and I kind of like open source myself. But in the end, if you want to keep on working in the gaming industry, you're going to want to make some money from your game. And actually, one should probably think about it. When you're making the game, after the prototype phase, you really should think about how am I going to monetize the game. And also, your gameplay and game structure can depend a lot on how you're going to monetize. If you want to make free-to-play and you made a retail game, you want to decide it in the start, not in the end, because a free-to-play game is made in a whole other way. There are way other concepts. So one has to think about that before going into a C. And now about capacity. At least for us, we started at 3, and then we were 4. And okay, we could have finished the game like that, but we wanted to make something more juicy. So we went and poked the world for money, and we got some money because people liked our project, and we could get some funding, and that increased our capacity. And having more capacity is sometimes better. It can sometimes be worse. I don't know. When you have too much capacity, you're like, I got capacity, I can slack. I'm saying I would do that, but capacity is usually good. So this is a list of things where you can get money from. Investors are probably the most traditional in Iceland. It's hard to get funds, but you can get funds. If you're going into this full time, you should probably apply for the funds. And then we got this, our most used thing, the free labor, which is, I don't know, it's enjoyable at times. And then we actually started a school project in Reykjavík University. There was a student called Marino. He made some shaders for us, 3 shaders, and we were super satisfied with what he did. He did it really well for us, and we're probably going to use some of his stuff. And crowdfunding. We all know crowdfunding now probably. It's Kickstarter and those things. And we also have Carolina Fund in Iceland. There's actually one of our friends who has a project on Carolina Fund, and he is very close to funding his project, which is really enjoyable. It puts a smile on my face. And then you can put your own money in it. We put some of our money in it that we had. It wasn't like super much. Yeah? Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking questions. Sorry. And then you can do pre-sales. It really depends on your project if you can do pre-sales. But, for example, games like Minecraft, they basically started pre-sales early. So if you have this game that communicates with a lot of people and people tell other people about it, a kind of viral game, which is also multiplayer, it's probably easier to sell pre-sales in multiplayer games. So if you're making a game like that and you can get it out there, then pre-sales might be all you need. But it's not very likely. Yeah. I don't know. I've probably gone through most of the aspects of game development. But in the end, what you're probably going to be doing is just starting small. You're on paper, creating your prototype. You don't have to worry about those things already, but I'm kind of telling those things to you so you can start thinking about them and kind of be prepared and learn about them. And I'm still going to emphasize that if you keep going, and then you might be at the same place as I'm not saying we're in the best place, but I feel like we're in a very good place. And that's probably because we kept going. We didn't give up. And just keep poking the world for information, for money, for everything. And it comes with time. Yeah. This is Burkni's favorite picture.
I live by this picture.
Yeah, I actually had to look at it 3 times before I saw what the frog was doing. Oh, and on game design. I love game design. It's my favorite part of game development. But that's probably because I call myself a game designer. So, again, the game is made for the player. The hubris that you get sometimes that you're just making the game, I'm going to make it this super hard, or I want the player to do this. But if it's not enjoyable for the player, you're doing something awfully wrong, because only you're making the product for the player, not yourself. I'm saying this because people do forget this. And remember, what you're making, it is an experience. It's something that you want people to feel. So all the time you have to think about, what do I want the player to feel? So, okay, you got those structures and lines and such, but what are those lines expressing within the player's emotions? That's what you're making as a game designer. You're provoking emotions in the player. And in Hours Awakening, we've mostly been trying to evoke this holy fuck crap emotion. Now, there are some core concepts like flow, learning curves, and experience curves. If you're if you're already a game designer and don't know them, you should probably look them up. Or if you're an aspiring game designer, you should probably know those core concepts. I really live by them. So basically, flow. That's when you're playing the game. If it's too hard, you get this feeling, oh, this game is not fun. I'm just going to press Alt F4. I do this the whole time, even though I'm a game designer. It's just something that happens in your head. But if the game is not exciting enough, then you're like, oh, why am I even doing this? I'm just going to talk with my mom or something. I actually enjoy talking with my mom, so that's one of the things. And experience curves are strongly related to flow. At least in platformer levels, you have this start where the excitement level is like kind of low, and actually one of the best experience curves, although I make really many different ones to provoke different emotions, is this one. It like goes, you hook the player, it goes like really up, then you like slow a little bit down, don't go over the hook, and then you give a little mini hook before the big flow, like this one, and it doesn't go a lot down, and then you got the big section, which we call the epic of the level, and then it's like wow, and that's like where you like, I don't know, everything is exploding, and then you think it's over, and then you go to the peak. Something really crazy happens, and then you slow down and get this chill effect. And actually, most movies are also made with those experience curves. You see all of LucasArts movies, Star Wars, and just major blockbusters, they use experience curves. So that's a really interesting concept. And learning curves, that's basically before the player has to do something really complicated with the world mechanics that you're presenting to him. Let the player see it, let him learn about them, and then you can make some more complicated things. It's basically, you probably know this. You played games, and some games let you learn the game. Some have a steep learning curve, that's okay. Some have a really slow learning curve, but it changes the aspects of your game. So one has to think about learning curves, especially when starting out making a game. It's one of the things in game design that can go wrong a lot. And it actually went wrong at our game in our first few iterations. Yeah?
The thing that you were just talking about, the whole idea of showing people what showing people how to do something before you actually challenge them with the task. There's a YouTube video, there's a very small YouTube series called Sequelitis.
Yeah?
There's an episode about Mega Man.
Oh, yeah, I've actually seen it. It's super lovely.
I really do recommend for people who want to see exactly that fact that you're talking about. Look up Sequelitis and Mega Man. And he will show you step by step that process.
You can also find it by searching Mega Man Learning Curve. Just anything about Mega Man on YouTube. It has so many views, and it's super enjoyable. So, yeah. It's super cool, that video. Really recommend it. And it's unbelievable how, from the start, things that we usually don't notice as players, but everything has been thought through. It's super cool. And on the art style. So when we didn't really have an art style in a prototype, we didn't think about it that much, but it's probably nice to start developing the ideas for the art style, but we actually didn't have an artist. So if you have an artist, the artist can start out developing some cool looks. So basically, when picking an art style, we had a really talented artist when we were really lucky that we got him, but he's also lucky to have gotten us. But so basically, those 4 points, I'm not going to read them out loud, but those are, you pick an art style depending on how much capacity you have. If you have to finish early on, you of course go for a cheaper art style. It has to fit the world. If you're making a fantasy world, you of course make something fantasy-ish. You can use something that has been used a lot before, but most artists want to make their own thing. That's what I think is one of the things that makes a really good artist. But then again, if the other thing that you're doing is not pleasing, going for something traditional can actually be just a lot better. And also on the technology, we were making our game in Unity 3D, so we wanted to use something that really fit that well. And on PR marketing, yeah, we are mostly going for public relation marketing, but there are some other methodologies to put your game out there. You can speak at big events, you can make blogs. There are so many things. There's actually, if you Google indie game marketing, then there's like a super big website with articles and stuff on how you can market your game, and it also just really goes into your imagination. But it's probably one of the hardest things that we've actually been going through. It's to put the game out there. We have had almost only positive reviews, which is really nice to us, but we want even more reviews. And we only got one marketing guy, and I actually feel like we have to put even more effort on marketing, but that's probably because we're about to release. So you don't have to think about it that much now, but you should be prepared, because a super cool game that no one knows about is not going to sell, and one of the more important factors, no one's going to be playing it. That would make me super sad. If everyone would pirate my game, I would be kind of sad because I wouldn't get money, but I would still be a little bit glad because people were actually playing it, because that's really the most lovely part of being a developer, seeing people play your game. Oh, yeah. Finish. Really, keep a project scope that's maintainable and keeps you going. If you think you're not going to spend more than 3 months on a project, make a game that takes 3 months to take. Oh, and actually, if you're making a game that takes 3 months to take to develop, it's probably going to take like 1 year. So make a game that takes 1 month to develop if you're going to make a 3-month project. Not just saying, but it's really hard to estimate how long it takes to make a game, and I would really love to see everyone making something finished. And as for the prototype or full game that you're returning in, it's a lot more fun to return something that feels finished than something that's still a work in progress. For example, I think one of the reasons why we got some really nice points when we won Game Creator, there were like 2 factors. It's probably that our game was finished. It was from start to end, and we had a boss, and it felt like a complete prototype. And also, what I think that really helped us out was that it was scalable. Okay, it was not just this small game. You could do something more with it and make it something big. But I'm not saying you should do that. A small game can be amazing, like Angry Birds, although our game is not a lot bigger than Angry Birds, but smaller games are not necessarily worse. And if you have something that's not going to scale a lot beyond what you made in the prototype, that's not probably going to lose you anything. So, yeah, what I said earlier, ignore that. Oh, see what I did there? Yeah, question time.
The software you use to create various sound effects, something effects.
Yeah.
What was the name?
BFRX, wasn't it?
BFRX.
Yeah, BFXR.
XR.
Yeah, it's super cool. I use it the whole time. I actually used it in Hours Awakening, and really recommend it. Mm-hmm.
Feel free to ask questions in Icelandic if you are not, completely sure with your English. Mm-hmm. We will also answer in Icelandic if that's preferable. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can also have the presenter repeat the question so it gets recorded.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
Mm-hmm. One question. You selected a game engine, but did you beforehand think about the actual game playing platform and the distribution channel for the actual game?
Yeah, so the question asked was about the game engine we selected, and when we were deciding if we had thought about distribution platforms, yeah, we definitely did that. When we picked Unity, we're using Unity, we saw that they were releasing on PC, Mac, and then also some handhelds, and we wanted to keep the option open for handhelds, But we also got a little bit lucky because while we were making the game, Unity expanded into releasing on PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, and Vita, and Shield, and so many other platforms available. So yeah, we kind of took a decision on that, but then we also got very lucky that Unity expanded. It's kind of a game changer for us.
So can you say then that if you use the Unity engine, for example, that it's kind of device agnostic in a sense that when you build the game, you can more or less play it on all those devices?
Yes. So basically, I think the question was on if you make a game in Unity, can you just build it on any device? For example, we developed the game for the PC. We can just export on Mac with no changes. We can export on Linux with no changes. And the NVIDIA Shield here, it took Tyringer half a day to get the game working on the NVIDIA Shield. We just had to change the controls and some minor things. Porting on the consoles is a little bit harder because there are so many technical specifications that we have to meet. But and the older consoles also have very low memory, which might be something that we have to optimize about. So yeah, porting on the consoles is harder. Porting over to mobile is not hard at all. So yeah, it's super flexible. And it's a lot easier than if we would be using any other engine. Then we also had to change our engine code, and then we would also have to meet those technical specifications, which is kind of the only thing that we have to do.
Question was, what will happen if we don't get on Steam? We will get on Steam, that's for sure. Currently, we're working on the PlayStation build, and we put all focus on that. And we don't want to release on many platforms at the same time because there could come, some bugs could appear, and we don't want to have 6 different versions of the game with the same bug. So we're going to finish PlayStation, and once it gets there, it's going to be easy to go on Steam. We're going to get noticed there, and also for Xbox, and then of course we're also doing Nintendo. We're going to do that probably second after PlayStation. Can you say again? Not Microsoft. The question was, has Microsoft approved us? And we're aiming for Xbox after PlayStation, and we have spoken to them, but we don't want to put pressure on it because we're doing PlayStation and Nintendo, and Nintendo is always asking us, where are you going to start? So it would be bad if a third party would also start asking us when you're going to start doing it. So, it's just, we're going to apply for Xbox when we're ready for it. And the Greenlight process, that is just going to finish by itself. We're quite high ranked now. And my guess is that the PC version will probably be next fall, not this spring, because it's going to be PlayStation first, and then comes summer. Summer's not a good time.
Let's start with you.
Audio versus visuals. You mentioned that you have a few stats when it comes to sound engineering and all that. But how much time and effort and energy do you put into not just audio quality, but complexity?
He's asking the question is how much time we put in audio quality.
Not just quality, but complexity as well.
We put a lot of effort into the audio quality, and we have only one sound engineer. His name is Friðfinnur Okkulös, and he's a perfectionist, and he's the sound aspect of the game is not that big compared to the whole project, but still he's working at the same pace as us, and it's we put a lot of
free range regarding audio
yeah
and music and all sound effects.
yeah
While you focus more or less on both gameplay mechanics and visuals.
Yeah, definitely, and that's partly because we've been lucky with Friðfinnur, because he is like really good, and we don't have to like guide him a lot. I mean, it could have been that way, but it wasn't. So he always delivers something that is excellent, and sometimes we have comments, but it's good.
Yeah, and speaking about that personality, this independence, it's super important that everyone in the project can work by himself. Maybe you can't at the start, but one should focus on being able to do that. Everyone at Luminox Games can work really independently, and we want to keep stuff like that. So we got a kind of flat structure within our hierarchy, and with a structure like that where no one is micromanaging anyone and you're not telling people what they have to do, if you don't tell people what to do, they will find out what they have to do. And everyone is working like that at Luminox. You get a lot more productive stuff that way, or at least that's my opinion.
Small projects like we're about to start in this competition, at what time do you think it's necessary to get a visual artist, somebody who's like better, can use anything else than to paint like me?
The question is, at what time starting a small project for a game creator, at what time should you have a visual artist? Personally, I wouldn't emphasize on it if it's not like essential to the game mechanic. If it is essential, it must be there. But just like show the core game mechanic, how the game works. Just like you saw our relocator, it was not beautiful, but it demonstrated the game completely how it works.
But if you would have an artist, that's probably going to, I don't know, if it really helps your project, then of course you should use one. But if you don't have one, then definitely don't focus that much on the visual side, and stay on your strong sides.
And also know that judges can see beyond this.
Do you have any ideas for coming up with novel game mechanics? Something you can build a game on?
Oh yeah, it's actually super funny how those things.
Question?
Yeah, question. So the question was on how do you come up with some cool mechanics and such. It's actually it's everywhere. It's all around you. I don't know. I usually keep some toys around me when I'm designing stuff, and I don't know, some old card games or some toys. For example, there's like this, what's it called? A board that has you click many buttons and it plays basketball, for example. And playing that basketball game gave me an idea for a mechanic. So it's just looking at the world around you, but you can also, there's also a whole other way. There's this way called the game of life approach. It's like everything exists. It's the belief that everything exists already, but you just haven't discovered it already. So basically, the mechanics are there, and if you, I don't know, take out a ruler, draw a line, or if you, it's kind of complicated to explain it. It's basically if you take a math formula, sine curves, all those things around you can give you ideas for mechanics, because the mechanics exist, and if you have played a game like League of Legends, they're actually quite limited on their mechanics. So basically, you can only do these things within 2D. You can only do these things, like translating something, translate it by a curve, make it disappear up here. And then there are so many books on it. If you Google game design books, you can find tons of good references, and also looking at what people are generally doing in other games. And I don't know, you're like Steve Jobs says, creativity is being good at hiding your sources. For example, I'm just going to admit, the core mechanic in Hours Awakening, it's based on Unreal Tournament's translocator gun. Some people see it, some don't. But in the end, it doesn't matter. It's cool, it works, and we love it. So it's all around you, basically.
I would like to add, if you look at games such as Papers, Please, for example, it's trending now. This kind of a thinking outside the box, taking jobs that you don't generally think about, and apply, how would I make a game about this? And you see that in Card Life, you see that in Papers, Please, and there are more. I mean, generally, it's just, all these shooters, they're basically, the life of a soldier, or whatever, a detective or a gangster. So, a lot of the time when you have a personality, it's basically, what does the guy do? And me and my friend have been doing a game, in a similar way. And we've been stuck sometimes with okay, so how do we solve this certain thing? And we've gone crazy ideas, okay, we could do it super complex, whatever. And then we take a step back and think, okay, wait, how do we do it in real life? Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay, let's just do that. It's really, just think, like you said, just look around you and think of hey, how does this communicate to game design? How can I make a game out of that? There's one interesting source. One of the game competitions that's been going on, Ludum Dare, right before Christmas. They have a theme that was what was it? You only get one. So that's the theme. You have to build a game around this theme. And you could do that yourself. You could set your own theme. I'm going to make a game about this. And 2,000 games were submitted, and of varying mechanics and all sorts. Me and my friend did a game where you only had one button to press to jump. It's a really basic thing. But one of the two most innovative games, in my opinion, was you only get one take, and that's where you assign a role to a camera guy, and you have to complete all these tasks by moving the camera to the right location, and that completely is in line with the theme. You only get one take. And another game was where you only get one dimension. So representing a blind person, how he would navigate through some. I can't explain it. It blew my mind how he did it and how it plays, and I can't possibly explain it. I'd have to just advise you to look at Ludum Dare 28, I think it was, Blind is the name of the game. But generally, just look around you and you will find a lot. Just if you think about, you could almost make a game out of making a presentation and answering questions. So, yeah. Any other question? Yeah, let's. Hold
Yeah. How important do you think storytelling and story is in both in this game and then in games in general?
Repeat the question.
Yeah. So the question was on how important we thought storytelling was in our game and even just games in general. I think it really depends on your game. But if you're going for some story, you should definitely nail a story. Otherwise, it's probably. I think it's better to skip it if you're not going to do it well. But I don't know. Or if you're going for a soft story, don't try to make it something more than it actually is. If you only have a premise, just stay with the premise. Like for example, Mario, it doesn't really have a complicated story, but it still tells those things. As for us, we thought the story aspect was really important for us because our game, we were trying to create, a world that we were going to continue using, and we wanted to present it to our players first within this game and keep on using it. And we wanted to get people curious about what was happening in the world. And also on the gameplay itself, when you're progressing, if there's the story gives a really meaningful objective other than just finishing the level, seeing what's going to happen next, and just evoking all those other emotions that the story can evoke. Then most of the games I play, if they have a really solid story, it's super cool. So not a really sophisticated answer, but yeah, I think it's really important, especially for our game.
I actually have another question to you.
Okay.
This is coming up.
Personally to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is an email you got. So the question is about the prototype. I guess how sophisticated it it has to be. You know, the thing, this is practical information
Right.
about the game creator competition.
Yes.
Okay, not about game prototypes in general.
Yes.
So the question was about the prototype. Can the game be a demo with some of the game functionality, but a shorter version?
So the question is, what exactly does the prototype have to be, in a way? So just to go to the core of it, what we are expecting to see from you guys, from the submitted entries, is a prototype. It's not a complete game, but if you do complete a game in 1 month, good job, and that's fine. But we're not expecting it. We're expecting a prototype, and a prototype is basically what you saw from Relocator. It doesn't have to be art fancy, unless that's part of the game, But it doesn't have to be art fancy, and it can be really crude, and basically that it shows the core gameplay mechanics. What are you going to do in the game? How do you move through the game? How do you win? All this stuff. And if you can convey this message, this is the game I want to create, into a prototype, then you can I don't know if you guys rewrote the entire thing. Yeah.
We actually didn't rewrite it.
Okay. Okay, so you can either rewrite the whole thing with the prototype in mind, I'm going to make this again, but only better. Or you can use what you built, the prototype, and finish that as a complete product. But that doesn't have to be in the competition. What we're expecting to see is just a simple prototype that works. It can have bugs in it. It can have uncompleted features in it, but focus on the core mechanics so that we know how the game should play, right? Would that satisfy as an answer? Yeah? Okay. Yeah. No objections, at least. Yeah?
Something that was conveyed during the first competition back in the days.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, the prototype doesn't even have to be. Theoretically, the prototype doesn't even need to contain SQL and code. It could be all on paper. But
yes.
You really have to convey how the game works.
Yeah, that was back. So basically, can we do this on a piece of paper and just turn that in? We had this originally in 2009, and I think we allowed it in 2011, but we're basically not going there now. We want to see a complete game. I don't think we're gonna, accept just game design documents on how it would play or, something. We want to have something playable that we can spend time and understand. So we're not expecting just pretty images and text. There was
submitted like this
in 2009, yes.
And they did not win anything.
No. So, it's not the best way to convey your idea for a game is just here's a bunch of pictures and here's a huge document on how we want to play. Doesn't really work because that's what the prototype is. It's basically, we have all these images that we've thought about, and we've thought about all these cool things in this document, and we've conveyed it all into this prototype that you can play and see for yourself. Because if you have a design document and if you have pretty pictures and all that, and you let the reader or the judge panel to kind of figure it out for themselves, they may all have different ideas on how it actually plays. If you leave out some important part, that could change the whole game, and you could ask each member of the judging panel, so this game, what is it? And they might come up with complete different stories. So we're not going to allow that this time around. So we're expecting to see a playable prototype. You can. So the question is, can I enter the competition alone, or do I have to be in a team? You can't be alone if you want, and we have nothing against that. But it is better to have a team to work with. Basically, it's so important to have someone with you in the game development journey. Basically, you can ask these guys; they would agree. Making a game. It's easy to, you have your own idea for yourself and all that. You can release that. But having someone to bounce ideas off in terms of game design, having some assistance with programming it, and if you're a programmer, having an artist you would benefit from it. So.
And it motivates you.
And motivates you. Exactly. Exactly. So we're not, you can be alone if you want. That's completely fine. We're nothing against that. So, yeah.
It's also a good point that the president should get the group that won that competition also happened to be the largest group.
Yeah. The winner of 2009, which was called actually IGI Awards, those guys, Clockwork Orange, I think? No, Clockwork. Clockwork Alien. Yeah, Clockwork Orange was a movie. They were, I think, about 5 or 7 or something. So with a team, you can get a lot more done in a shorter time, as long as you have good management of the team. So yeah, it's a good point. Any other question? Yes.
How important is gameplay in the prototype versus other aspects?
So how important is gameplay to the prototype rather than other aspects? Well, it depends on the game that you're presenting, basically. Personally, I would say gameplay is always the most important factor of a game. If you don't have gameplay, then are you doing a game, or are you doing an app or a movie, or what? So gameplay is always, there has to be some gameplay, in my opinion. But in terms of games these art games, in a way, where you walk about and experience story, it's not a lot of gameplay. You move around and you press E occasionally to find, objects or whatever. But then, of course, the story is more of an impact in the overall mood. But in a short competition such as this, I'm hoping to see a lot of cool and interesting gameplay. Actually, I want to reverse the Q&A a bit. I want to ask you guys a couple of questions. So how many of you have actually participated before? Nice. Yeah, oh, hey. Okay, that's great. That's awesome. And how many of you actually are in a team? Like, just show of hands. Okay, good amount. Is there anyone that's alone then? Not yet. Half. Okay. So we want to actually present. You can feel free to ask questions if there's anything more, and if you have anything specific, just come up to us and give us a talk after this. But I would like to actually offer everyone here an opportunity to actually, if they have some sort of an idea that we want to present, we need team members. If you're looking for a team or looking for team members, you can come up and kind of do a short introduction to your idea and what you need. So is anyone willing to actually come up and give your idea a chance to see if anyone wants to join? Nobody wants to. Yeah.
Yeah, since nobody is coming up, I can maybe start a little.
Okay.
Cool. I didn't make the presentation, but I can give you a short.
Just a short. Yeah.
What we actually need, me and my partner here, Óskarsson, we need two guys, very strong guys on the computer things. But we have the brains. We have a lot of ideas, and we have a very strong, you can say, support. Actually, we are working for the Federation of Icelandic Industries. Our game idea is innovation game. And the story is about a team that want to create their own company in any kind of business, but most likely in the technology field, for example, like gaming industry, want to establish their own gaming company. And the story begins there. And there is a lot of boards that you have to go through until you get to heaven. And the heaven is being able to create a company on the world market, sold for a bunch of millions of dollars or billions of dollars. And one parameter is to be able to have some ownership left when you get there in your own company. And how to do it? Going through all the steps. Actually, this is our daily business, actually, where we work, helping people, helping companies to get through this game in reality. And what we really want to do is step by step, going from a simple prototype up to a realistic, we can say, social game, multi-user game, taking more and more care of the world's reality. There's a lot of business opportunities in there, for example, like advertising, all those people and all those instruments that are available, all these consultants that want to help you go through, they want to advertise to help you to build your company. So this is we can say more or less can be a real world for companies that want to make use of that game. But this is the big idea, but we have to start in a very small prototype. But we need to have a strong team to help us with that. We are not going to make the programs ourselves, but we can certainly be a backbone for a strong team.
And you're looking for two kind of
programmers, perhaps? Two canons, and of course we need to then go further and see what we need more of that, for example, artists. And so step by step we'll make this team stronger.
Okay.
So this is only, we can say we are here because of our interest for the industry. Those two guys who are working with us, they will be the winner. We will not take any can say part of the winning sum, but we will go further. This is not only for the game creator competition, but for real.
Okay.
And we have a startup business plan here.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, thanks for that. Is there anyone else that want to come up and look for team members Everybody fully booked. You may not know it, but the Federation of Industry. I love saying federation. It's like something from space or something. I don't know. Samtök that's what they're called in Icelandic, and they've been really good helping stone to us in IGI. So thanks for that. But so if you have any, if you want to join them and talk to them about the idea, just approach David. This is kind of the informal part then. If there are no questions, this becomes kind of the informal part of the workshop, where if you have any questions or opinions or something, you can just call to us and we'll come and talk to you. And this is kind of the only area where you can actually get help from us within the IGI industry. To these workshops, if you have any, if you need opinion or have a question or something, then this is the part. Just call to us and we'll come and talk and all that. Last chance for any kind of questions. Really? Yes.
Totally unrelated.
Yes.
Top 3 favorite games of all time, be it major release or indie.
Mine.
All of you.
All of us. So, top 3 games, in my opinion. That is a good question. That is only 3. That's just being mean. I would have to say there are a few games out there that kind of put me where I am in front of a camera and 40 people. Red Alert, Command & Conquer Red Alert. That's the game where I started modding stuff, where I started fiddling with INI files and saying, I can, if I change this value, then this happens. Wow, this is amazing. I want to do this myself. And another game would be Operation Flashpoint back in 2001. That's kind of where that game kind of put me more into the modding scene, and made me aware that I was able to actually make games. For my third game, I'd actually take a shameless plug and say Forgotten Hope 2. That's a mod, actually, for Battlefield 2. But that's a World War II mod that I've been working on since 2007 with a team of, we're probably up to, past developers as well, probably 60 people. And one day, perhaps, it will become an actual indie game. But I would say those are my 3 games with shameless advertising in there as well. Burkni, you want to tackle this question?
Yeah, I'm not as sophisticated as you. I would say Counter-Strike first is the game that started in the first-person shooter started to make sense, and then StarCraft 1, excellent game, and then probably Syndicate, which is a game from '91, which I think is the father of Dota and LoL and all these games. Simple, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a lot simple.
I recommend all of them.
Ingþór.
Yeah, as for me, I'm probably more like this typical gamer dude, but my number 1 game would probably be Dota. It's just like drugs to me. And also, it really got me interested into game design. I started playing Dota before it was cool, back in 2004, when it wasn't even on the Frozen Throne game, Warcraft 3, it was on Reign of Chaos. But yeah, basically seeing that game from just being nothing, just a game that a few people played on the Battle.net, into being Dota 2, which, I don't know, 8 million people play every day. It's super inspiring, and it's also probably the best game design game I have seen. There's just everything about it that I love. And then there's number 2. That would be Super Smash Bros. Melee. It's just so well balanced, and it just you can play it on and on and on again, and all those things that you can do as a player. It's really easy to enter, but the depth is just so super high. It's unbelievable. It's actually not that common that people played it in Iceland, but those who did, they loved it. And then we got the third one, which is nothing original, but it's probably because I have spent most of my life playing it, and that would be World of Warcraft. No, but really, that game, I don't know, seeing that I had spent most of my life playing computer games and I could program, then, I don't know, I didn't know what I could do with all this time spent playing games. So I just decided that I should make them and be a game designer. And a good background as a game designer is having played games all your life. It makes you connect things together. That was it.
Has anyone, took the time to think of a cool question meanwhile? If not, then I think we'll just end the Q&A session, and just if you have any questions to us, like directly, or want to get us opinion, just raise your hand, call to us, and we'll have a chat. Okay? Thanks.